in number 1, we need to find a common denominator between 4 and 3, and that would be 12. And so I write 12 above every term. Then I would go ahead and I would divide these to get 3x, multiply here to get 84, multiply here to get 60, and then I would divide here and get 4x. Now we can subtract 4x to both sides, and we get negative 1x. At this point, we're at a two-step equation. So we're going to subtract 84 from both sides and get negative 1x equals negative 24. But normally our last step is to divide, so we are going to divide by negative 1 here, and we would get positive 24. In number 2, we have a compound and problem. And so our goal is to get x in the middle by itself. So we're going to add 5 to each section. This gives us a 2 less than or equal to 2x less than 18. Lastly, to get the x by itself, you want to divide by 2. And we would get 2 divided by 2 is 1. Bring down your less than or equal to x, and then less than, and we divide that, we would get 9. In number 3, at the Monroe Reservoir, it costs $30 per hour plus a $120 deposit to rent the pontoon boat. So if you look right here at this 30 per hour, the per means to time. So we would say 30 times hour. They have us use T for hours plus the 120. It says write an equation that describes the cost C for renting a pontoon boat at the lake for T hours. So if it says describe the cost C, that is what that entire expression would equal. So C equals 30 times T, or 30T, plus 120. Now it says if you end up spending $330, for how many hours did you rent the pontoon boat for? So this C is your 330. I plug that in for there. And then you should be able to see that it's just a two-step equation. And so I subtract the 120 and get 210. And to get T by itself, I would divide by 30. And T equals 7. So that means they were on the boat for 7 hours. In number 4, we have to complete the table of values. And as we can see, there are 4 blanks here. So first and foremost, you should know that f of x is y. Secondly, we would go ahead and set up our 4 problems. And we know that for every single one of these questions, we're going to have to use the same formula. Y equals 4x plus 5. So, for the first one, 0, this is your x. And in class recently, when we were practicing this, we went ahead and labeled what each number was going to be. So here, x is 0, x is negative 2. In this column, these are both the y's because they're in the y column. Alright, so now, for x equals 0, I plug 0 right here for x. And I have 4 times 0 plus 5. And that gives me 0 plus 5, and that is 5. For b, we have y is 1. So we plug the 1 in for the y, and we solve for x. So now you're back at a two-step equation. So I'm going to subtract 5. I get negative 4 equals 4x. But to get x by itself, I need to divide by 4. So x equals negative 1. And then go back in and fill your table in. For letter C, we have y equals 4 times x. Well, x is negative 2. So then I would multiply and then add 5. So really I'm subtracting because they're both different signs. So negative 3. And the last one there, our y is 13. So I plug 13 in for y. And I can see I'm solving for x by a two-step equation process. So subtract the 5. We get 8 equals 4x. Divide by 4. And x equals 2. So again, fill in the table.